everyone, and welcome back to Easy English Talks Hub, where real conversations help you build real confidence in English. Whether you're relaxing at home, enjoying a cup of coffee, commuting to work, or taking a peaceful evening walk, we're truly happy you've decided to spend this time with us. Today's conversation is about something that doesn't just improve your English, it can completely change the way you communicate with people and the way people see you.
That's right, Anna. Today we're talking about a quiet kind of strength. It's not about speaking louder, showing off, or trying to win every argument. It's about staying calm even when life becomes stressful, when people criticize you, or when emotions start taking control. Have you ever met someone who remained completely relaxed while everyone else was panicking? There's something incredibly powerful about that kind of person, and today, we're going to explore why.
One thing I've noticed is that calm people often make the biggest impression without even trying. They don't interrupt others, they don't raise their voices, and they don't feel the need to prove themselves all the time. Instead, they listen carefully, think before they speak, and respond with confidence. It almost feels like their silence carries more weight than someone else's shouting.
Exactly. And don't worry if English isn't your first language. Just relax and enjoy the conversation. Listen to how we express our thoughts, notice new vocabulary, and remember that you don't need to understand every single word. Learning English is a journey, and every conversation brings you one step closer to speaking naturally and confidently.
Jack, let me ask you something I've been thinking about recently. Have you ever noticed that in a room full of people talking loudly, complaining, or trying to get attention, there's usually one person who barely says anything, yet somehow everyone pays attention when they finally decide to speak? I've always found that fascinating because it seems like calmness has a special kind of influence that doesn't depend on volume or popularity.
I know exactly what you mean, and I think we've all experienced that at some point. The calmest person in the room often appears to have the most confidence because they don't feel pressured to react immediately. They don't rush to defend themselves, and they don't speak just to fill the silence. Instead, they observe what's happening around them, take a moment to think, and then respond with purpose. That kind of behavior makes people curious because it's becoming increasingly rare in today's fast-moving world.
That's so true. These days, everything seems to happen at an incredible speed. We reply to messages instantly, scroll through social media without stopping, and sometimes we even interrupt people before they've finished speaking. It's almost like everyone is afraid of silence. But when someone remains calm and comfortable during those quiet moments, it creates a completely different kind of energy. Instead of feeling awkward, their calmness makes other people slow down and pay attention.
I think that's because calmness communicates something without using words. It quietly says, I'm not controlled by pressure. I'm not afraid of this situation, and I don't need to prove anything. That's a very attractive quality because most people struggle with stress, anxiety, or the fear of being judged. When they meet someone who stays emotionally balanced, they naturally admire that person, even if they can't explain exactly why.
Do you think calm people are simply born that way? Or is it something anyone can develop with enough practice? Sometimes I meet people who seem naturally peaceful, almost as if nothing can upset them. And I wonder if that's just part of their personality or if they've spent years learning how to control their emotions.
Personally, I believe calmness is a skill more than a personality trait. Of course, some people are naturally quieter than others, but staying calm during difficult situations is something you learn through experience. Every challenge teaches you that reacting emotionally doesn't usually solve the problem. After enough difficult moments, you begin to realize that taking a deep breath, slowing down, and thinking clearly almost always leads to better decisions than reacting out of anger or frustration.
That reminds me of something my grandfather used to tell me when I was younger. Whenever I became upset about a small problem, he would smile and say, "If you can control yourself, you've already solved half the problem." At the time, I didn't fully understand what he meant. I thought he was simply telling me to stop complaining. But now, after growing older and facing more responsibilities, I finally understand the wisdom behind those words.
I really like that saying because it's incredibly true. Life constantly gives us situations that we can't control. We can't control traffic, bad weather, rude customers, unexpected problems, or other people's opinions. But we always have one thing we can improve, and that's our response. The moment you realize that your reaction is your responsibility, you become much stronger than someone who blames everything around them.
Another thing I've noticed is that calm people don't seem to waste much energy trying to impress others. They don't constantly explain themselves, argue over every disagreement, or seek approval from everyone they meet. They appear comfortable with who they are, and I think that confidence makes them even more interesting. Ironically, the less they try to get attention, the more attention they receive.
I completely agree. True confidence is usually very quiet. People often imagine confidence as someone speaking loudly, dominating every conversation, or always having the perfect answer. But real confidence is often much simpler than that. It's the ability to stay relaxed when you don't know everything, to admit when you're wrong, and to remain respectful even when someone disagrees with you. Those qualities don't make you look weak, they actually make you look incredibly strong.
I think that's one of the biggest lessons we can all learn. Sometimes we believe strength means reacting quickly or defending ourselves immediately. But maybe real strength is having enough self-control to pause before speaking. Maybe it's choosing peace instead of unnecessary conflict. That kind of patience isn't always easy, but I imagine it becomes easier every time we practice it.
Absolutely. Just like learning English, becoming calmer doesn't happen overnight. It's built through small daily habits. Every time you choose to stay calm instead of reacting emotionally, you're training your mind. Every difficult conversation becomes an opportunity to grow. Over time, people begin to notice the difference. They trust you more, respect your opinions more, and feel more comfortable around you because your calmness creates a sense of stability that everyone appreciates.
You know, Jack, something I've been wondering about is why some people seem to lose control over the smallest things. It could be a delayed train, a long line at the supermarket, a misunderstanding at work, or even a simple comment on social media. Suddenly, they're frustrated, raising their voices, or saying things they later regret. It makes me think that the real problem often isn't the situation itself, but how we react to it. Why do you think that happens so often?
I think a big reason is that many people react before they think. When something unexpected happens, emotions take control almost instantly. Instead of pausing for a moment and asking themselves what's really happening, they allow anger, fear, or frustration to speak for them. The problem is that emotional reactions are usually temporary, but the words we say during those moments can stay with people for a very long time. That's why learning to pause is such an important life skill.
I completely agree. There have been moments when I wanted to reply to a message immediately because I felt hurt or misunderstood. At first, I was convinced that I needed to defend myself right away. But after waiting for an hour, or sometimes even until the next morning, I often realized that my emotions had changed completely. The message I wanted to send suddenly seemed unnecessary. Looking back, I'm so grateful I didn't react in the heat of the moment.
I think almost everyone has experienced something similar. Emotions are like waves in the ocean. They rise quickly, become very powerful, and then slowly disappear. If we make important decisions while we're standing in the middle of those emotional waves, we're much more likely to make mistakes. But if we wait until the water becomes calm again, we can see everything much more clearly. That's why patient people often make wiser decisions than impulsive people.
Something else I've noticed is that calm people don't seem to take everything personally. If someone disagrees with them, they don't immediately assume they're being attacked. If someone is having a bad day, they don't automatically think it's their fault. That ability to separate other people's emotions from their own seems incredibly healthy. I wonder how they develop that mindset.
I believe it comes from understanding that everyone is fighting battles we know nothing about. Imagine someone speaks to you in a rude tone. Your first thought might be, "Why are they treating me like this?" But maybe they just received bad news. Maybe they're exhausted after a difficult week. Maybe they're worried about a family member or dealing with stress that has nothing to do with you. When we remember that possibility, it's much easier to respond with patience instead of anger.
That's such a compassionate way of looking at people. Of course, it doesn't mean we should accept disrespect or allow others to treat us badly. But it does remind us that we don't always know the full story. Sometimes a little understanding can prevent a small misunderstanding from turning into a much bigger conflict.
Oh, definitely. When I was younger, I thought every criticism was an attack on my personality. If someone pointed out a mistake, I immediately felt embarrassed and wanted to defend myself. But over time, I realized something important. Not every criticism is meant to hurt you. Sometimes it's simply information that can help you grow. Once I understood that, I stopped taking every comment so personally.
I think that's a huge change in perspective. Instead of asking, "Why are they criticizing me?" maybe we should ask, "Is there something useful I can learn from this?" Even if the other person doesn't express themselves perfectly, there might still be a valuable lesson hidden inside their words.
Exactly, Anna. And even when criticism is unfair, staying calm still benefits you. Imagine two people in an argument, one person starts shouting, interrupting, and becoming emotional, while the other listens carefully and answers respectfully. Which person seems more trustworthy? Usually it's the calm one. Emotional control doesn't just help you feel better, it also changes how other people perceive you.
There's another habit I've been trying to develop, and that's becoming comfortable with silence. I used to think every conversation needed to be filled with words. If there was a few seconds of silence, I felt like I had to say something immediately. But now I'm starting to appreciate those quiet moments. They give me time to think before I speak.
I love that, Anna, because silence is often underestimated. Confident people don't rush to answer every question instantly. They take a moment to think. They choose their words carefully instead of speaking just for the sake of speaking. That small pause makes them appear thoughtful and composed. Ironically, saying less often makes your words more meaningful.
That's especially true during disagreements. Imagine someone says something upsetting. If we react immediately, our emotions usually take over. But if we pause for just a few seconds, breathe deeply, and organize our thoughts, our response becomes much more balanced. Those few seconds can completely change the direction of a conversation.
Absolutely. Sometimes the strongest response isn't a clever argument or a loud opinion. Sometimes it's simply remaining calm enough to refuse being pulled into unnecessary drama. Peace of mind is incredibly valuable, and once you learn how to protect it, you become much more difficult to upset. People may still try to provoke you, but they no longer have the power to control your emotions.
I think that's a wonderful lesson to end this part on. Staying calm isn't about pretending that life is always easy or that difficult situations don't affect us. It's about choosing wisdom over impulse, patience over frustration, and understanding over unnecessary conflict. That doesn't happen overnight, but every small step makes a difference. Well, Jack, I think today's conversation reminds us that calmness isn't about hiding our emotions or pretending that life is always easy. It's about learning how to respond instead of simply reacting. Every day gives us new opportunities to practice patience, kindness, and self-control. The more we work on these small habits, the stronger and more confident we become. Well, Jack, I think today's conversation reminds us that calmness isn't about hiding our emotions or pretending that life is always easy. It's about learning how to respond instead of simply reacting. Every day gives us new opportunities to practice patience, kindness, and self-control. The more we work on these small habits, the stronger and more confident we become.
I couldn't agree more. Staying calm doesn't mean you'll never feel angry, disappointed, or stressed. Those emotions are completely normal. The real difference is learning not to let those emotions make your decisions for you. When you stay calm under pressure, you protect your peace, think more clearly, and often earn the respect of the people around you.
And to everyone listening today, we'd like to leave you with a simple challenge. The next time you find yourself in a stressful situation, don't react immediately. Take one deep breath, pause for a few seconds, and ask yourself, what's the best response, not just the fastest one? You might be surprised by how much that small pause can change the outcome.
Before we say goodbye, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever stayed calm during a difficult situation? Or is remaining calm something you're still working on? Tell us in the comments below. Writing your answer in English is a great way to practice your vocabulary and improve your confidence.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. We hope this conversation helped you improve your English while also giving you something meaningful to think about. Remember, learning English isn't just about grammar and vocabulary, it's also about expressing your ideas with confidence and connecting with people from around the world.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Easy English Talks Hub, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new English conversation. We have many more real-life topics coming soon to help you improve your listening, expand your vocabulary, and speak English naturally.
Until next time, keep practicing, stay patient, stay curious.
Keep learning, keep growing, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye, everyone.